Aloha and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at the ukulele. First, let's start with the parts. Have the body, the neck, and the head or headstock. I like to encourage my younger students to sing this song with me. It goes a little like this: body, neck, head, clap. Body, neck, head, clap. This will help you remember the parts and enforce rhythm. Now let's do it together. 3, 4, body, neck, head, clap. Body, neck, head, clap. Great job. Now let's learn how to hold the ukulele. There is multiple ways to hold the ukulele, but let's look at the traditional way. Our right arm is going to cradle the ukulele against our body. It comes over the ukulele, and there's some pressure right around this area that's gently going to go into our body that will create a cradle. You should be able to support your ukulele just with your right arm holding it against your body right now. It might be a little weird because we haven't added our left hand yet, but we're going to get there in a minute. Now, a couple things to think about. Our right hand is going to come right at the joint where the neck meets the body, so we can keep a nice fluent motion in our wrists without having to move our arm. If it was tried it back here, we'd have to move our arm and our ukulele would be bouncing all over the place. Straight arm, nice and relaxed wrist, right about here on the ukulele, right where the neck meets the body. Now, let's look at the left arm. Give me a thumbs up for doing so great, and go ahead and put that thumb on the back of the neck and bring your fingers around. And eventually we will be fretting notes. But right now, let's just kind of cradle the strings. Wrap your hand around a little bit, and you'll get a muted sound. Now, in this position, our ukulele is supported with our left hand is holding the headstock and neck up, and our right arm is holding the body against our body in a cradle motion. We should have full control of our ukulele at this point. Now, let's practice with our strings muted, just moving our hand up and down. And you'll see how as the ukulele moves a little bit as you do this, but most of the motion you want in your wrist, not your right arm, because if that does move, your right arm's going to be shaking the whole ukulele. So just in the wrist. Now, let's talk more about strumming. With our left hand still cradling the neck and the headstock, and our fingers laid gently across our strings to give us a muting noise, let's talk about how to strum. Our thumb is going to hit the strings on the way down. Our first finger is going to hit the strings on the way up. It is slightly bent, almost like this, as to easily come up. A good way to practice this is strum down with your thumb and almost drag up with your first finger. Now, that motion is supposed to be nice and relaxed and in your wrist. If it's in your arm, your ukulele is going to be moving around a little bit because you're supporting it with your arm. So a good exercise is just to go down and up and try to make that nice and smooth in feel and in volume. You don't want to... It's a little weird, but that can happen, so let's break the bad habits before they start. You got this. Now let's release our fingers from our strings and just cradle with our thumb and try the same exercise. Down and up, down and up, down and up. Great job. Remember, the motion comes from the wrist and not the arm. Nice and relaxed. You don't want robotic wrist. Keep it nice and relaxed. If you have to shake it out a little bit, shake it out. Do this and then come back to it. Nice and relaxed. Thumb down, first finger up. Remember, the hand is curled a little bit. Just like this. Just enough to be able to actually run my fingers across. If it was flat, it'd be really hard. You hear how it sounds different and it feels really weird. So try it that way, but don't practice that way. All right, now let's take a look at the left hand. Our first note with our left hand is the 3rd fret on the A string. I want you to use your 3rd finger for this, as we're going to be using other fingers to descend the scale. Now let's talk about how to fret a note. We want our finger to be right before the fret, not on top of it, not too far away from it. Right before the fret will help you get a nice crystal clear note. You might need to experiment with finger placement and how much pressure you're pushing down with to get a clear note. Now let's talk about the pattern. 3rd fret on the high A string with our 3rd finger. 2nd fret on the A string with our 2nd finger. 1st fret on the A string with our 1st finger. Now back up to the 2nd fret on the A string with our 2nd finger. Now let's play that together. 3, 4, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, 2nd fret, and we would repeat that till you're comfortable with it. Once you're comfortable with that, let's add strumming into it. Remember, our motion comes from our wrist and not our arm. So go ahead and fret the 3rd fret of the A string with your 3rd finger and strum all the way down with your thumb. And make sure the fretted note is ringing out, or it'll sound like this. That's important that that high note is ringing out because that is our melody in this exercise. Now the strum pattern we're going to use is down, up, on each one of those notes. For example, on the 3rd fret we would go down, up, or 1 and 2 and then we would switch to the 2nd fret, and 2 and to the 1st fret, 1 and 2 and 2nd fret again, 1 and 2 and. Now let's try that together. 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 2nd fret, 1 and 2 and 1st fret, 1 and 2 and back to the 2nd fret, 1 and 2 and. Repeat that till you're comfortable with it. If you want to know the chords we're playing there, we're playing C major, C major 7th, C dominant 7th, or C7, and back to C major 7. Thanks again for joining me today as we learned about and how to play a little bit of the ukulele. If this lesson was helpful or enjoyable, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. It helps us reach more people. Stay tuned for more content every week, and stay happy and healthy. Keep on playing.